Hi guys, my name is Kaslyn Rezac. I am a registered dietitian that specializes in nutrition for pregnancy and nutrition for postpartum women. I geek out on everything in relation to nutrition and pregnancy, so I'm so excited to be here today and so excited to get started. A little bit about me to begin. I am from the Midwest of the United States. I got my master's in nutrition with an emphasis in integrated medicine, meaning that I really like to focus on a real food diet and look at whole body health when I'm working with my clients. After I graduated, I decided to go travel the world for a little bit. It was initially supposed to be 6 months, but I ended up living in Australia for 2 years. I absolutely loved it. If anyone loves to talk about travel, please hit me up. While I was there, though, I worked at an OB/GYN clinic, and I adored everyone I worked with, and I just cherished getting to know the women throughout their whole pregnancy journey. So I absolutely loved it. So I am passionate about educating men and women at the time of preconception, so yes, before baby is even conceived, through their toddlerhood is this critical period where if the child is immersed in a healthy environment with healthy diet, lifestyle, they can pretty much, it positively impacts their health for years to come throughout their whole life. So it's known as the first 1,000 days, and it is so important. Moms have the ability to reduce their little one's risk of obesity, diabetes, heart cancer, disease later on in life, just with a healthy nutrition and healthy environment. So I love educating about it and I love spreading the word about it. And if you're here, you are obviously very interested in it as well. My goal is to eliminate frantic Googling of what do I eat for pregnancy? What do I eat for postpartum? I'm feeling this way. What do I do? I want to eliminate that. Google leads to a lot of confusion. There's a lot of conflicting advice on there. So I am here to give you up-to-date, research-backed information and just stop the stressing. And once again, that Googling needs to go. So today, we're going to talk about one important factor through pregnancy and postpartum, which is your prenatal vitamins. We're going to go through why your prenatal vitamin that you're taking may not be cutting it, how to then choose an actual quality prenatal vitamin, so what to look for, what not to look for, and then why everyone knows that you should be taking one during pregnancy, but why you should also continue taking it postpartum, and then, of course, how to learn more. And really quick, this is just my disclaimer that this presentation is just for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice for you. Make sure to always talk to your specific medical providers. And if you want more information, you can go to my website. So let's get started. Pregnancy and postpartum is the one time in a woman's life where her specific nutrient needs are significantly increased. From before pregnancy to now, the needs of your body is so much greater. And what are most prenatal vitamins supplying? The bare minimum. So because this is once again one time where you need such an amount more of nutrients, the bare minimum just isn't cutting it in my book. So what is this bare minimum and how are prenatal vitamins getting away with it? Here's the problem. The RDAs. RDAs are the recommended daily allowances that estimate what a healthy person needs for essential nutrients. And this is what prenatal vitamins are using to make their formulas and to put certain nutrients in. They're referring back to these RDAs. So what's the problem? RDAs were created in the mid-90s, so quite a long time ago, and they were actually formed from data from men, adult men, and then put through an equation to just estimate what pregnant women need. So that should be questionable in itself. And then also RDAs, they are there to make pretty much the bare minimum so you don't go into extreme insufficiency, right? So once again, the RDAs are the bare minimum. This is what prenatals are using, and they're based on research from so long ago. New research today has found that these RDAs may be really lowballing what pregnant and postpartum women actually need. And just to be sure too, the RDAs are not taking into account the metabolic changes that happen when you are absorbing and digesting these nutrients. So that's something to think about too. And also, once again, this is new research. It takes about 17 years on average. So it could be much longer for new research to get into the public eye and to be into policy. So that is too why I'm so passionate. I didn't want to tell people all about it. But so here is a few examples just of where the RDAs may be lacking. So with vitamin B12, multiple studies have shown that the RDA and what pregnant women actually need is triple that of the RDA. And then there was another study that found that pregnant women, when they're at delivery and they have their blood drawn, and they were known to be meeting the RDA set for vitamin B6, but they had very insufficient, suboptimal blood levels of vitamin B6. And then another one is vitamin D, which is so important for pregnancy and postpartum. It's set at 600 IUs, which is not enough to keep up with the vitamin D needs. And a lot of women can take up to 4,000 IUs, and it's still a healthy amount, and it is still significant enough. So 600 to 4,000 is a huge, huge gap. So we got the RDAs are lowballing the amount of the nutrient that you need. They are just pretty much set to beat severe deficiency, but we do not want those lowballed numbers. We want the optimal amounts in our prenatals. So check that off. And not only do we want optimal amounts, but the form that the nutrient comes in matters as well. So what do I mean by that? So look at this slide. Often in prenatal vitamins and in actually all supplements, forms of vitamins are found in a much different form, the synthetic form, compared to what they are found in a real food diet. So these synthetic forms, they're made in the labs, obviously, and they're much more difficult for our body to absorb and utilize. We never get as much as we do from the real food source of that form, but they are much cheaper. So because they are cheap forms, just throw in prenatal vitamins, often companies will opt for these. But we want the real food form or the most bioavailable form. So what I mean by that is your body can readily absorb it, utilize it. It is ready for that. So that is the optimal form. Okay, let's go through a few examples of what I was talking about. So folate. We all know folate is essential for pregnancy. It's been talked about for years, and I'm sure everyone knows that it is to prevent neural tube defects. So it's very, very important for pregnancy. The synthetic form is often found in prenatals, which is folic acid. We do not want folic acid because, unfortunately, it's not readily available, like I'll say multiple times, but also 60% of the population has a genetic mutation where they cannot use folic acid at all. So even if you think that you are getting the amount of folate that your prenatal vitamin says, you could be potentially getting none of it, which increases your risk of those neural tube defects. What we want to see in our prenatal vitamins is the active form, which is the L-methylfolate. And so look at your prenatal vitamin and see if that is in there, because that is the form that we want. The next example is the active form of vitamin A, which is retinol palmitate. So most prenatal vitamins are going to have beta carotene in them, which is okay, but it's just not the most potent form of vitamin A. If you have a mixture in your prenatal vitamin, that's great, but I would be wary if your prenatal only has beta carotene, because you're just not going to be getting the full effects as you would of the active form of vitamin A. Now, I do want to note that high amounts of vitamin A are warned against during pregnancy, but there are no prenatals on the market that exceed these excessive amounts, which is like 10,000 IUs. So do be aware of that. But if you are concerned about your vitamin A intake, that would be something that you can talk to your doctor about. The last example we're going to go through is vitamin B12. So what we want to see in our prenatals is the adenosine cobalamin or the methylcobalamin, which are both a little tricky to say, but those are the active, most readily available forms of vitamin B12. What is more commonly seen in prenatal vitamins is the cyanocobalamin, which is okay. However, it does require additional processing for safe removal. So it is best to avoid that and go for the more active forms, as I have mentioned multiple times. So these are just a few examples. Every single vitamin and nutrient in your prenatals are going to have that synthetic form and the more ideal form. So we want our vitamins to have that ideal form. So it is something to look at. The last two things you want to ask yourself when looking for a prenatal vitamin is, one, is it a comprehensive formula? So what I mean by this, does it contain all the nutrients that we need for pregnancy and postpartum? Because a lot of prenatals are missing specific nutrients that we really do want to see in there. For example, choline. Choline is pretty bulky, so it takes up a lot of room. It's more expensive to put in prenatal vitamins, so companies will just leave it out, but it is so important for pregnancy and postpartum, and up to 94% of women are not getting enough choline in their diet. So that is just something to ask yourself, does it have everything that I really, really need? And then again, is it third-party tested? So this is just meaning, is what that the bottle says the prenatal has, does it actually contain that? Is there a third party looking at the contents and letting me know, yes, this is factual, this is what you are getting, what the bottle says. Okay, so postpartum, do we continue taking our prenatal, or is it okay if we stop it? We're not growing baby right anymore. It's actually wrong. We do want to keep continuing prenatal, which I think most people know, but why do we want to? So postpartum, you're still growing your baby, especially if you are breastfeeding. And so you're growing it, but it's just outside the room. And even if you're not breastfeeding after birth, you need to rest, recuperate, and then replenish those nutrient stores. While baby is growing inside you, they are depleting your nutrients. They're taking everything out of you. You are growing a new human. So you need to continue to rebuild up those stores in order to get to feeling like your best self. Okay, so although you should get most of your nutrients from your diet first, sometimes it's really, really hard to meet your needs, especially if you are nauseated or you are feeling exhausted, depleted. And that is just why it is key to continue taking your prenatal vitamin. If you aren't breastfeeding, take it up to 6 months postpartum, if not longer. If you are breastfeeding, definitely continue to take it throughout the entirety that you do breastfeed, because once again, you just want to get to feeling like your best self. And I do want to say that even if you're not able to have that stellar diet, I'm eating everything just because you're busy, you're a new mom, you have so much going on, I do want to emphasize that you are still producing nutritious milk for your baby. So don't worry, but that is just another reason to continue taking your prenatal vitamin. Okay, we want to get you guys feeling your best. And I don't have time to go really deep dive into all your nutrient needs for breastfeeding, but I do kind of want to say that your diet and your supplement, it does affect the nutrients and concentration of those vitamins in your breast milk. And sometimes your needs are increased. So for example, our choline needs during pregnancy are about 450 milligrams. Once again, that's an RDA, so more is always better, but they do jump up to 550 milligrams for breastfeeding. So, and it is essential. Baby's brain is growing. We do want to make sure that we are getting all those nutrients in. So if you want to make sure you're providing your best, nourishing yourself for baby, always shoot me a message if you have any questions. So to review, when we are picking a prenatal vitamin, we don't want to pick one that's just going to do the bare minimum. We want to choose a supplement that has high bioavailability. Our body can utilize those active, not synthetic nutrients. It's third-party tested, so it actually contains what we want it to contain. And then also, it is a comprehensive formula, so it has everything in there and isn't missing out on vital nutrients. And we want to continue this postpartum at least 6 months down the road if you aren't breastfeeding, and throughout that duration if you are breastfeeding. Now for the fun part is the giveaway. So I'm giving away a 30-minute consultation with me to go through everything that we just talked about, but make it specific to you. So we will pick out a prenatal vitamin and other supplements that are going to meet all of your needs and optimally make baby thrive. And if you want to learn more, the best place to find me is on Instagram, Nutrition with Kaslyn, or on my website, which is nutritionwithkaslyn.com. You will get links to all my freebies, tons of tips, and I also love making funny reels, so there's a few laughs along the way. And then if you do want to work with me, or you're just interested in what else I can provide, I do offer one-on-one consulting. So all you have to do is book a free discovery call. We'll kind of discuss your goals, things like that, and we can go from there. Thank you so much for listening today. I had so much fun doing this, and I can't wait to talk to you guys more.